Hey, your eczema's gone.
Hey everyone, so welcome back to another episode of Boba With Board. Today we are joined by Jordan Ray.
So Jordan is one of our Tinikling coordinators for this year. This is his 4th year being a part of Long Beach's PCN and his 2nd year being on PCN Board. So Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well,
We're all good. Yeah. So let's start off by asking you, so how was your first PCN experience?
Oh my gosh, it was everything. I feel like it sounds dramatic, but it kind of encompassed everything from like the highs to the lows, and like making a lot of friends that to this day I still go to constantly, including you two actually. So yeah, it was pretty much like every experience that I could have asked for in college rolled into like that solid 11 weeks.
so throughout the years, you've danced in actually every suite in PCN. Which suite in particular is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, I feel so torn between like which answer I should give. Just because I haven't given it to the chance yet, I think probably Spanish has been the most meaningful to me. I find that in Spanish, above all the other suites, I'm able to express myself the best. I've always felt like a better connection to those styles of dances and the ways that they have distorted facials and like the messages behind the dance. There's just what I did in Spanish was the stuff that I resonated the most with.
All right, so this is your 2nd time on PCN Board as a suite court, and so we were curious as to like what influenced you to apply specifically for Tinik for this year.
When I was a first year in Tinik, I was obviously very lost, and my chords, especially Jojo Sapita, shout out Jojo, he definitely helped talk to me whenever I needed advice, and like he kind of was my first mentor figure that I would ever consider to be that at this school. And just the amount of time we spent together and the fact that most people only do Tinik, it's a much more intimate and like trusting environment that I want to be a part of it.
So you've had a pretty extensive PCN experience. This is going to be your 4th. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to this particular PCN season?
I think probably the board itself. I don't think I've ever seen a board be this like cohesive and close as a unit. We'll see how that affects our work ethic, because obviously like we all love to have fun, but if we're really able to put our heads together and like not get stuck in the mud, then I think this PCN has the potential to be like one of the most cohesive and like encompassing shows of all of the emotions that we've ever had.
All right, so kind of backing away from PCN, we kind of want to let the audience get to know you as a person a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as a fellow fitness buff, tell us how you got into the fitness world and your experiences with it.
Okay, as a kid, I always played sports. I was in Little League, I was in soccer, I was in basketball, I was in football. I was never particularly great at any of them, but I just loved being out there. Once I graduated high school, I think I needed another outlet to like let all that energy loose. And periodically throughout my training days, especially when I was in football, my dad would always take me to 24-hour and we'd work out together. And like my dad used to be one of those guys that looked up to Arnold. He'd drink a gallon of milk a day. He was
really
jacked. He wore the G-string tank tops, and it was like a really great way for us to connect that I never felt like we got through the other sports. And it was something that I wanted to get onto. So I started training my senior year of high school after I finished basketball. And then from there I just fell in love with it and like the process and like how to run programs and like the positioning of joints and how that affects the movement. On top of that, above all else, it's kind of like my outlet. I'm really grateful to have the gym as my outlet, like versus some kind of other activities. Not only is it a great way to let off steam, but it's very protective in the process.
Who's buffer? You or your dad right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Me.
Oh.
Right now.
Dad?
Yeah, my dad's gonna watch. My dad's definitely gonna watch this, and he knows I'm buffer than him right now. Yes.
All right, so not only is fitness like a really good outlet for you, it's actually what you're majoring in here at Long Beach, right? You're a kin major with an emphasis in fitness, correct?
Yes.
So what kind of career are you like looking towards getting into?
Coming into college, I think like a lot of people, I was pretty dead set on physical therapy. Over time, like the more I've been exposed to the industry, being at the Life Fit Center, I've learned that there's a lot of different avenues to take in terms of health. There's obviously the rehabilitative, which would be physical therapy, but over time, just the activities that I've just happened to choose, I've ended up a lot more in the preventative end. So that would be like public health and training, personal training. Like I said earlier, I love intimate settings, and I love being able to work with maybe 1, 2, 3 people and really get to know them, so that I can actually give them the best like avenue for them to take for their health. Because of that, I'm probably looking to gear towards more so small group fitness, personal training. I love bodybuilding, obviously, so if I could find maybe an athlete that would want to progress in that like realm, that would obviously be like my end game if I can make a living off of that. Physical therapy is still in the cards for me. I definitely haven't decided yet, but I am for like sure that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Well, you mentioned that you're into bodybuilding. Do you ever see yourself like stepping on stage and performing?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. You know, recently, I've lost a pretty okay like amount of weight, and I'm finally being able to see the way that I've been progressing. Kind of like how I look. Not gonna lie. I think, especially like in my frame, I think I have a good frame to like have a good shape. So I mean, I think in the future it is something that I'd probably consider, but if I were to do that, that's a pretty grueling process. I would only do it to win. Obviously I'm a very competitive person. I wouldn't really enter a competition and put myself through 16 weeks of hell just to participate. I do it to win. So if that were to be in the cards, that would be a much longer timeline for me. But it's definitely something that if I did get to that point, then I'd be able to.
See that, folks? You're looking at champion.
Are you gonna compete?
Me? Oh yeah. Yes.
What are you looking at? Physique still?
Physique.
Come on, man.
This May and June. Let's do
Physique.
it.
But you can't show off your butt in physique. You gotta wear those dumb swim trunks.
I don't want to show my
Do classic. Do classic.
You're a pretty athletic person. You have a pretty athletic mind. So let's see if we can put that athletic mind to the test with this next segment of our show called Rapid Fire.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask you a series of questions, and you're gonna have to answer them as quickly as possible. Are you down?
Yes.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Cope, can you count us down?
In 3, 2, 1.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
I love fitness.
I love fitness. All right. Who's thicker, you or me?
Me. Wait, no, you. Wait, it depends where.
Both. What's your favorite lift?
It's gotta be an incline banded Smith machine press.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Taking the elevator to the 2nd floor of wherever you're at. Losers.
I felt that. Say something in Spanish.
Hold on. I felt that was so generic. I said
Who has the better grip strength, you or Jared?
Jared.
Would you rather have a better upper body or lower body?
Upper body.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Oh my god, I have one. It's SZA.
Ooh.
She's so hot.
Give yourself a compliment.
Hey. Your eczema's gone.
Fill in the blank. Archives is
Comprised of Derek and Zach.
That was such a specific answer. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it.
So to wrap it up and bring it back to PCN before we go ahead and end today's episode of Boba With Board, we have one last question for you, and that question is, what does PCN mean to you?
The things that PCN has given me aren't things that can really be said with words, like as dramatic as that sounds. Obviously, like if I could just say it with words, I would just say it. But I'm here again for the 4th time, and I'm back on board for the 2nd time with arguably like one of the most time-consuming positions. I think like what it means to me is something that like you would need to watch me day to day, and like see how guided I am when I'm there. No matter like what kind of good or bad day I'm having, like PCN is that rock that I've had this entire time. Even in fall semester, just being able to look forward to the show and knowing that like me going to class and me staying like doing whatever, whether it be PCF stuff or meetings or working out, I'm always building towards something bigger, and I don't think I'd be like half the person I am today from the start of college till now if it wasn't for PCN, everything it's given me. yeah, it's giving me everything.
Oh my goodness! I felt that! Well, Jordan, that was such a great answer. That's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for coming to our show.
Oh, thank you for the drink that I kind of spilled.
Yeah. So that's all the time that we have for today's episode of Boba With Board. Make sure to be on the lookout for the next episode to come.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and we will see you in the next one.